Hey guys, it's Eric, and today we're going to quickly compare the brand new Eve Room to the brand new Eve Weather. Now, these are the brand new ones that have thread built inside. Now, when it comes to thread, I just want to quickly talk about this. I think it's definitely a huge improvement over Bluetooth. You have better connectivity, better reliability, and it's definitely the future of HomeKit. The one thing to remember is if you want to use thread, you have to have a HomePod Mini for HomeKit. It doesn't work with anything else right now, so if you don't have a HomePod Mini, unfortunately this still will only work on Bluetooth. For full disclosure though, they did send these out to me for a review. Now obviously these have different purposes. They do have a couple of same sensors that pick up the same parameters, but the Eve Room is meant to be indoors and the Eve Weather is meant to be outdoors, even though the Eve Weather you can use indoors if you want to also. Both these pick up temperature, humidity, and then the Eve Room will pick up VOCs or volatile organic compounds, and then the Eve Weather is going to pick up that biometric pressure, which with all three sensors should predict the weather, but in my personal opinion it really doesn't do a great job at that. The room is designed to only be used indoors, where the Eve Weather is designed to be used not only indoors but also outside, as long as you can put this under some covering and not in direct sunlight. Direct sunlight will affect the temperature gauge and give you misinformation. And when it comes to display, obviously the Eve Weather has a much bigger display, but it is a LCD display, where the Eve Room has like this e-paper display, which is much easier to see. Now the reason the Eve Weather does not have an e-paper display, I think, is because in colder weather you will not be able to see the e-paper display, where you will be able to see the LCD, even though generally overall it's a little bit harder to see. It's not as clear, but you can definitely see it in colder weather. Also, in front of the Eve Room only, you do have these two buttons on either side. They can cycle through different displays. Now each display is going to give you the exact same information. It just changes the location and the size of each one, so depending on what you want to see most clearly, you can cycle through your favorite display, where on the Eve Weather you do not have that option. They both work exclusively with HomeKit only, so if you're using Lady A or Google, unfortunately these will not work. And also you can use both of these with the Eve Home app, so if you want to see more information or a history of the information of the data that comes from these, you definitely want to use the Eve app. There's a lot of great stuff in there. And when it comes to battery life and how you change or recharge it, on the Eve Room you have a micro USB plug that they say you have a battery life of about 6 weeks, and on the Eve Weather you have a battery compartment right here. It's a pretty big battery. I forget what it is, but they say the battery life should last about a year or so. I've had this one for a while, and unfortunately it did not last a year. It probably lasted about 6 to 8 months. Not that bad, but I would like to see much better battery life on here, where they say it lasts a year, but it did not for me. Overall, I'm pretty happy with these. I think they're pretty useful in your smart home. For instance, if you want to use the Eve Room to identify when it gets too hot to turn on a fan, you can definitely do that. Or maybe if the VOC levels get too high, you can turn on an air filter. Or if you have a really cool smart home, maybe you have an automatic window opener, but that's pretty advanced. I don't even have that. And then with the Eve Weather, like I mentioned, it's not best at predicting the weather, but at least you can see the temperature outside without actually going outside, which is really nice on a cold winter day.